Hello everyone. So in this session we'll be discussing about the recruitment process that I follow on a day-to-day basis, and apart from that how to discuss with candidate about any specific role. So the basic communication methods I'll be discussing with you on this specific module itself. Apart from that, I'll also be sharing a detailed write-up for this specific session along with the attachment. So to start with the JD process, what I usually do is I get the role understanding from the client, or else we can say the account manager who is in continuous interaction with the client, as for that matter. So once you get an understanding about the role, you get the role requirements from the client. You get the role requirements either from the client or else from the account manager. So I start with getting the role from the client or else from the account manager. So usually these are the people who give you the requirements or else any specific role to work upon. After you get a role from the account manager or else from your client directly, in that case you just need to understand the requirement, what exactly the client or the account manager is needing. In that case, you also need to go through the company's website. You need to understand what the company is exactly into, like what kind of products they are serving, what kind of services they are offering to their clients. So once you understand the company and their culture, it will be easy for you to sell the kind of position and the organization to the specific candidate. So this is one of the very basic things that you need to do once you get any specific role. If you're working in a corporate environment, it won't be very difficult for you because you need to do it only once. You need to understand the company that you're working with. You need to sell the specific things to the same candidate. But if you're working for any consulting organization, for every single role, there will be a different client. So you need to understand the client, their businesses, what kind of services they are offering, what kind of products they have in the market. So the basic understanding of the organization is a must for any specific role or for any specific client. So once you understand the organization and their products, then you start searching for the candidates on the LinkedIn who are working within the same company and on the same role. So that way you get an insight what exactly these people are doing right now. So let's say if you're hiring for a HR manager for, let's say, any XYZ company. In that case, what I would suggest is go through the LinkedIn profile of the person who's actually currently working on the similar role. So let's say if I have someone like someone around 2 to 3 years of experience working as a HR manager and with the same specific company, like the client company that we are hiring for, and on the same role. So in that case, it will be easy for you to like understand the specific role, what exactly they are doing, what kind of keywords they have mentioned on their resume or else on their LinkedIn profile. You'll understand it and you can jot down some of the points on your notes. Once you understand the role, then probably what I would suggest is just start sending the mailers, the mass mailers, to the potential candidates so that it will be easy for you. Like if you're hiring throughout the day, in that case, by the midday, you'll get some of the profiles who are interested and they'll start sending you the rewards over the email itself. If not, in that case, what we'll do, we'll start searching the profiles on Naukri. We'll start speaking to the candidates, the potential candidates. We'll check if they're interested and if they're looking out for any change right now. So take as many telephonic interviews as you can. And in order to avoid sharing or sourcing any less relevant candidates, you should be having a very brief conversation with the candidates. You should be having this conversation and you need to understand what exactly they are working on right now. So in order to do that, you need to judge the candidates on following pointers. So first of all, you need to check the relevance of the resume along with the JD. So let's say if I have candidate who has done a lot of things throughout their career, but I need only specific 2 or 3 technology stacks that the candidate should have worked upon. So in that case, I'll be checking if the candidate has that much of relevant experience with the specific things that I'm looking for or not. So you need to always check the relevance of the resume with the JD, that is job description. You need to have a communication, and that should be like excellent regardless of the roles. So the candidate should have good or else excellent communication skills no matter what. That's the first pointer that I would recommend you should always check when you are having a word with the candidate for the first time. Apart from that, candidate should be willing to towards the engagement for that role that you're hiring for. So you need to ask them what exactly are the reasons because of which they are looking out for a change and what excites them for the specific role that you are offering them right now. Apart from that, you also need to check with the candidate if they have any offer letter in the hand. So this is one of the most possible scenarios, like if you're hiring for someone who is willing to join immediately or else who is already serving their notice period. So in that case, it is a must thing that you should check with the candidate that if they are holding any offer already in the hand. This is done in order to like avoid any kind of inconvenience in the future. So let's say if you have a budget of 20 lakhs per annum, and in certain cases if the candidate already has an offer of 30 lakhs per annum in their hand, so in that case, you'll be already wasting your time if you further continue to discuss with the candidate because you don't even have that kind of budget with you. So ask these kind of things in the initial brief discussion itself that if they are holding any offer and take the details of that kind of offer that they are holding. If it is fitting within your budget, then there's a point to continue the further discussion. Apart from that, you need to check the willingness to appear for an interview. Let's say if it is a face-to-face interview or else on an online interview, you should be checking with that candidate. Like let's say if you're conducting a drive over the Saturday or else over the Friday, in that case you need to check with the candidate first in the prior hand itself. Like if they will be open for like any kind of interview over Microsoft Teams or else over the Zoom over the Friday, like on Friday or else on Saturday itself. If they are interested in that case, you will be saving a lot of time when it comes to scheduling the interviews. So this thing I would recommend you do it in the first call itself. Check their willingness to appear for the interview. Also, you should also be checking with their notice period part. And let's say if someone has a notice period of 90 days or 60 days, you need to ask them if that notice period is negotiable or not. So in certain cases, candidate will upfront tell you that they have seen people leaving within 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, whatever it is, less than their notice period. So they'll tell you in the first call itself. If that is possible, just make a note of it in the tracker itself that the notice period is negotiable by these many days. So once that is done, you are done with the first conversation with the candidate. What I would recommend is take a copy of the job description, send it over to the candidate, take their acknowledgement that they are okay with the opportunity. So this makes sure that even if the candidate backs out at the later stage of the interview or else of the process, you have a solid copy with you over the email that you can tell the client that this candidate was earlier interested, later on he changed his mind. But by the time I had a conversation with this candidate, he was interested and I have a proof of that. So this usually are the things that you need to keep with you, and this also makes sure that the candidate understands the role and he is still interested in the role. So apart from that, I would suggest to check CV for the validation from the account manager or else from the hiring manager himself. So after getting a confirmation, share the CV with the hiring manager or else with the account manager to check if they are fitting within the expectation of the hiring manager or else account manager, because at the end of the day, these are the people who are going to hire these kind of candidates. So check their interest and if they find it suitable for the role or not. And apart from that, you need to follow up with the client or as the hiring manager or as the account manager for the feedback on your candidates. If you have shared the candidate and you have waited for 48 hours, start following up. So this actually makes sure that you have a good touch on your profiles. You just make sure that you remember that you have shared these many number of profiles with the client or else with the hiring manager. And if you have received the feedback within that time itself, that's well and good. If you have not, send a reminder email that you have not received any feedback on these kind of candidates so far, and you can intimate the candidates about the same if they have been shortlisted or not. Moving forward, you must have an understanding what kind of interview process the client is or else the hiring manager is going to take. So in that case, you need to make sure that you convey the same thing to the candidate as well. So let's say if I have a candidate role in which we are going to conduct 2 rounds of virtual interview and the final round will be a face-to-face round. So in that case, the candidate has to appear for the final round of interview at the office itself. So that you need to make sure that you convey it to the candidate as well. So, and apart from that, during the interview process, if the candidate is selected, you should tell them that there will be a next round of interview. If not selected, you should send them a rejection mail at least, that your profile has been rejected because of so and so reason, and take the specific feedback from the account manager or else from the hiring manager himself during that time itself before sending a rejection email to the candidate. Going forward, I'll just give you a demo of a brief telephonic call, or we can say a script with the candidate that you can have. In that case, you'll understand it in a better way. So what I usually follow, I'll just tell you that right now, and I'll share this thing along with the attachment after like with this session itself. So I usually start with my introduction and the kind of role that I am offering to the candidate so that the candidate understand what this call is about and what kind of opportunity is being offered to them. So I usually begin like this. Hi, I'm Apoorv here. Am I speaking to Mr. XYZ? Considering that XYZ is the name of the candidate. Once that is done, if he or she confirms that it is the same person, so I'll continue with. So hi, this is Apoorv here, and I'm calling you on behalf of ABC Consultants. This call is in regards to a career opportunity in case you're looking out. So if the candidate says yes, I'm looking out, or else I'm open for a change. So in that case, you can start a further conversation. So if the candidate says no, I'm not looking out, in that case you can drop the candidature of that specific candidate. Otherwise, if the candidate says that can you please call me back later, in that case take the availability of the candidate for the further call. Let's say if he asks you to call back within next 30-40 minutes, give them a call after 30-40 minutes, but don't force those candidates, because usually they might lose interest in the role if you force for specific reason. So let them take their time, let them understand the role meanwhile, and by the time you're waiting, send them a job description for the role so that they can go through it, and while having a conversation they'll have a clear idea what exactly they are talking about, or as what exactly you're pitching for. And if the candidate is open and is available for the discussion then and there itself, in that case the further discussion will look like this. So let's say I'm a recruiter and I'll tell them, yeah, it's great that I understand that you're currently working with XYZ company and on a designation of this. In that case, candidate, if he's working on that specific designation with the same company, in that case, he'll say yes. And in that case, you need to go ahead and ask them, tell them that you're currently hiring for ABC consultants, and I wanted to check if you have applied for any specific opportunity with this specific company in last 6 months or like 3 months, whatever the cooling down period for that organization is. And if candidate says no, in that case you should go ahead and ask them about the details, like what kind of roles they have handled so far, what kind of technology stack they are working on right now, and if that fits within the job description that you have been provided. Then later on you take the details from the candidate which you have mentioned on your tracker. Like the name of the candidate will always be in front of you when you're like sourcing from Naukri. The notice period you need to check from the candidate. You need to check their current CTC, what their expectations are. You need to check with their notice periods. And as I said earlier, you need to check for if the notice period is negotiable or not. Apart from that, you need to check for their current location, where exactly they are working out of. Apart from that, you need to tell them that this will be the specific location that we'll be hiring for. Let's say if someone is sitting at Mumbai and you are hiring for Bangalore, you need to tell them upfront that we are hiring for Bangalore location and this is going to be work from office. Will you be comfortable with that? Take their consent. If they are still okay with it, then take the rest of the details that are there on the tracker. Make sure that the candidate is fully aware about the job description. So once you take the understanding of their current role, give them a brief about what exactly you are also hiring for, because you have already gone through the job description. You must be having a clear understanding what exactly you're hiring for. Give them a brief about the role, what exactly you're hiring for, so that they also understand it fully. And tell them that after this call, you will also be sending them a job description so that they can go through it and you can take their confirmation over the email itself. So that's pretty much how the initial conversation will look like. During the process, let's say if you have selected multiple candidates after round one, in that case, what I would suggest is once they clear the first round of interview, give them a call, even if you are not scheduling the second round itself. Give them a call, tell them that congratulations, you have been selected through round one, and we will be very soon scheduling the second round of interview with you over Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or face to face, whatever it is. So give them the update, what exactly the stage of the process they have reached so far, and tell them the specific time or else the tentative time when the interview will be scheduled or not. And if the candidate has been rejected, send them a rejection email. So keep the candidate engaged throughout the process. So once you have scheduled their second round of interview, take a follow up with the hiring manager once the interview is done. Same goes for the round one as well. Same goes for every single interview. And once you offer the candidate as per the expectations, or like after having the HR discussion with the candidate and the CTC has been discussed, if the candidate is okay with it, once you share the offer letter with them, after that, make sure that what I usually do is I usually make sure that on every Saturday or else on Sunday, I give a call to the candidate, check if they are going through any other interview, if they have received any other offer so far, till the time he has completed his notice period and he joins the organization. Otherwise, it is very easy to lose a track of the candidate and they might join somewhere else without letting you know. So this has happened with me some time back in the past. So that's when I started following this specific method, and this has helped me a lot. I started I have actually dropped the rejection ratio of my candidates after offering by 80-90% already. So this will be helpful for you as well in the further process when you're working in this specific in the recruitment industry. So that's pretty much of it. So this was all about this course. I'll be adding few more lectures going forward, but as of now, this is pretty much it. So if you have any suggestions, please make sure that you drop that in the Q&A section itself, or else you can drop the comments. Thank you very much for joining this course and wish you a very great career ahead in the recruitment industry. Thanks a lot again.